Welcome back. Another drive home, another chat. It is crappy out. At least it waited until my shift ended to start pouring. So I feel compelled after 8 hours of sitting in a car, and generally my only human contact is either my partner or somebody who's not having the greatest day. I need to talk to some other people. And I want to build on the last video that I put up. Not there's much to see, but use it as a podcast if you want. In my last video, I talked about Antifa and the Purge. That's basically when they get done with the cities, they're going to move on out into the suburbs and then to the rural areas of the country, and basically purge people who don't follow suit with their political ideologies. In this chat, I'm going to mention some towns that maybe you've never heard of. Maybe you have if we've talked personally. But for the past week, we've seen them in the major cities. Throwing rocks, throwing bricks, frozen water bottles, airmail as they like to call it in the NYPD. And I'm going to reiterate something I stated in the last video. They got booted off of Twitter for saying, hey, we're coming for the suburbs and the rural areas once we're done with the cities. Well, again, these clowns pretty much do what they say they're going to do. And yeah, people in my circle of Constitution-loving, gun-loving, liberty-embracing circles tend to make fun of them, but at the same time, you need to give these fools credit, because if they say they're going to do something, they generally do it. Maybe not the next day, maybe not the day after, but they generally do it. So, they are fools of their word if you want to go that far with it. Yesterday afternoon, they got out on Facebook that they were going to invade a protest in Honesdale, Pennsylvania. Now, raise your hand if you've heard of Honesdale, Pennsylvania. I didn't think so. Except for maybe one of y'all that I was talking to yesterday and today. Honesdale, Pennsylvania, you could basically sneeze and miss it as you're driving through. There's not much there. There's not a whole lot in the way of money in Honesdale, Pennsylvania either. It was a manufacturing town that died at the turn of the century. Or, not died, but, yeah, died, I guess is a good way to put it. And there's not a whole lot there other than meth users and, well, I don't even want to say that. It's a big, they have a big problem with opioids in that town. There's really not much there, other than some good old boys that never moved out. And the local meth heads, if you will. But it's not what you would call a burgeoning city. Well, they showed up there tonight. Lo and behold, there was a protest scheduled there from 4 to 8 p.m. The town of Honesdale shut the hell down at 3 o'clock. They closed everything in that town. From the post office to the banks. And most of those businesses are mom and pops, with like the exception of a Wendy's and a Pizza Hut, I believe. Maybe a Domino's. You know, stuff like that. Town closed down. And listening to the countywides, they had the main road blocked off. Come find out later from my sergeant, who has friends up there, that a bunch of liberty-loving, Constitution-embracing, Second Amendment adhering patriots met them in the center of town and said, not our town. This ain't happening here. And that's about where it stopped. The problem I have is those D-bags blocked off enough traffic that they had to divert incoming ambulance traffic away from the local hospital, which is Wayne Memorial. So if you needed a trip to the hospital and that was your closest one, you got diverted to the next closest one. The next closest being Bon Secours, which is a community hospital. It's not much in the way of a hospital at all. And then the next closest one beyond that is Lehigh Pocono, and that's a good drive. So yeah, do the math on that. It's I don't know, I would say from where I am, from where I work, it's probably about a 45-minute drive under lights and sirens on a good day with road conditions in your favor. So from Honesdale, yeah. Now, that got shut down. Some of the locals said, good on you, Honesdale. Nothing like some good old boys that love their Second Amendment, their liberty, and their Constitution, saying, you little commies are not welcome here. You little anarchists are not welcome here. My other sergeant works an overlap shift. She hopped in the car with me at like 8 o'clock. 2000 for those of us in the language, right? Said, Honesdale was just a warm-up. Tomorrow night and Saturday night, Scranton and Carbondale are supposed to burn. Now, I don't know if that's an over-exaggeration or not, but based on what I've seen in some of the larger cities elsewhere in the country, burn does not seem like an exaggeration to me. I don't know much about Carbondale, other than there's not much there. Scranton, also known as the Electric City, is another one of those industrial hubs that died turn of the century, early 20th century, that time frame. And it's just started to mount a comeback. You know, restaurants, shops, stuff like that. Not places that I would necessarily frequent. But places that would improve the quality or the overall atmosphere of the city. Well, Sarge was telling me that Scranton PD, now I can't confirm any of this other than what I'm told by my superior, found some truckloads of bricks going into the city. And they said they saw some Antifa on the ground there. Now, some years back, I knew some Scrantonites, or Scrantonians, but I don't know what the term for y'all is. They were of the libertarian mindset, which is not too far off the conservative mindset in their embrace of the Constitution, liberty, and First and Second Amendments, which would say, hey, you can protest all you want. Don't come to my town and break shit. That being said, Scranton's a suburban, well, it's got a suburb that sprawls fairly close to it, and it is not a major city. So I guess if you're one of those guys, that counts as invading the suburbs. Scranton's a good hour and a half for me, so I'm not worried about spillover in that aspect. But at the same time, these clowns did say when they were done with the major cities, they were coming out for the suburbs and the rural areas. So if you want to call Honesdale a suburb, I don't know what it would be a suburb of, I would call it a small town. They came, they tried, they failed. That was as of 10 p.m. when I clocked out. Scranton, on the other hand, is a larger city, a very liberal city. It's the county seat of Lackawanna County. And again, it's very liberal, like a lot of portions of Pennsylvania. So I would be curious as to whether or not Scranton City PD allows stuff to get out of hand. On any normal given night, they would have their hands full in that town. And on the same token, I would be curious as to how the residents of Scranton handle it. Guess we'll have to stay tuned until tomorrow to find out. What blows my mind the most out of all of that is that they knew these people were being bussed in. Well, you obviously can't do anything about that if you get bussed into a town, city, stay with friends, or pay for a room at a hotel, right? That's perfectly legal. There's no intent clause when it comes to visiting somewhere. But the part about the truckloads of bricks blows my mind. Now, City PD can't be on 81 stopping every tractor trailer that comes into town. As a matter of fact, I don't believe they have jurisdiction on interstate at all. But hell's bells, I am willing to bet that there are some state troopers that work the highway that could find some reason to delay that truck from getting to where it's going. I know guys that drove trucks that said the DOT troopers are sons of bitches. They can find anything and everything on a truck if they're looking for it. Yet they allowed them in. If it's true. Not sure if it's true. Again, we'll have to wait till tomorrow to find out. Man, these people promised the purge. It sure as hell looks like they're trying to give it. They're getting ready to have it. I've been saying nobody's going to come help you if you don't help yourself. Now, I doubt very strongly. So this channel is brand new. It's got 2 subscribers, and I'm still trying to kick it off the ground. That anybody in Honesdale saw that video where I said, nobody's coming to help you if you don't help yourself. But they had the mindset to say, not in my town. I hope the people of Scranton and the people of Carbondale tomorrow have the same mindset and say, not in my town. Because enough is enough already. And I've said it for years, and I'll continue to say it. For every 10 of them shaking a sign, there's one of them loading magazines. And I shudder to think what happens if they decide to unleash their purge, if you will, full scale, nationwide. But I will project and guess that I think you're going to see this garbage continue. From now, right on through November. This is their order out of chaos. This is their time to shine and punch a Nazi, if you're one of them. Anyway, I think that's about enough. I'm staring at a blank screen without being able to see my smiling face looking back at you. So I'm going to leave you with that. If you like what you're hearing, like, share, subscribe. Discuss it in the comments down below, but please keep it respectful. Be safe. Watch your 6. Out for now.